Before we get started, I want to say something to you personally because you've been here throughout this process, and I just want to let you know not only do you have an A, like practically guaranteed, but if you ever need a recommendation or anything else from me, I'm your guy. You've shown a lot of character in this whole process, and I couldn't be more impressed. I just want you to know that.
So much.
My pleasure. Hi, Destiny.
Hi.
Man, speaking of people who are just like on it and rock starish, since you've been back, you've been here every day, and I really want you to know also, I appreciate you being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, it seems like a little thing that we're all doing, but in a way, if it was that easy, more people would be doing it. How are you two today?
I'm good. And yourself?
Good, thanks. Are you still working out?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And you said definitely. So tell me about that. Like, where does your commitment to that come from?
It was crazy because I never really saw wrestling as like an option for me, but it kind of just came at random. And then I don't know, just that sport gives you another type of commitment that you can't really break it. It just becomes a part of your life.
Yeah, I feel you. And it has nothing to, like for people who don't get that, I feel so sorry in a way because it's not about a grade or an accomplishment. That's just something that grows in you and then you can't ignore it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hi, Lily. Hi, Deanna.
Hello.
Hi.
How are some of my favorite people today?
Good. Yourself?
Nice. Good. You guys are always so positive. I wonder, really? Is it always that good? Holy crap. Because you're some of the most well-adjusted people on the planet then.
It's up and down.
That's
Yeah.
honest. Oh, it is for me too. This morning, I swear to God, we groomed our dog and that thing, like he's not, you've seen him on screen. He's 9 pounds. He's tiny. He's fluffy. And he was fierce. He was going to bite the whole world in half and scream while he was doing it. So the big question on my mind is this. Does the beard stay or no?
That's difficult.
Well, we're marking a first in history. I've never asked a class anything like that in my life. So obviously things are unusual these days. Today, because I know we have the essay and this possibility of an emerging book project together in place. I wanted to keep it relatively simple. I don't have much of an agenda for our meeting per se, except I want to be here to answer any questions or bounce any ideas that will help you write. I'm pretty excited because I submitted the edited revised version of my manuscript for the book on open source learning to a publisher today. So I'm kind of happy about that. It's odd. Thanks. It's odd though, because people say to me like, oh, are you one of those people who are like, baking sourdough and mastering Hebrew and doing all sorts of other amazing things while this is going on? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm busier than ever with just my classes and trying to keep my life sorted out. But I'm pretty excited about this book idea that we had yesterday. Has anybody done any writing?
No, I was gonna start it yesterday, but I'm like really overwhelmed with my assignment for Miss Hennings and like my other assignments for my Spanish class too. But
now,
yeah.
How does that work? What's going on in those classes and what's overwhelming about it? Because I really don't know what other teachers are doing.
Well, right now for Miss Hennings, so we're assigned the second half of Heaven, and there's a new rubric for the DBQ, and it's only 5 documents now, so we're doing that, the SAQ, LAQ, DBQ, and there's 3 to each packet. So we do that, and then right now for my AP Spanish, we just do, I don't know how to explain it, like a little, there's like virtual conversations that we have to do for the exam. And we do one of those, and then we have to speak 2 minutes of a cultural comparison, and we just have like practice runs of that. But for me, it's just like a lot.
Okay.
And I haven't been able to start math homework either because of the class.
Okay. So it sounds kind of like a typical school day before campus closed in a way, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I'd like to suggest for our course, especially if you're taking the AP exam. A lot of what we do is complementary to the other courses that you take. So for example, that the journals that we do every day, the book projects that we do every day, those things are in a way designed to help you to think around all the other information you get and to express yourselves more effectively. So if you want to use your journals, for example, to write about your thinking on AP social studies or Spanish, for example, totally fair game. If you want to write about how sometimes even being at home during the closure is just as overwhelming or more than being at school, also fair game. I just had an idea. I'm going to show you a couple of days in a row this week. It's not uncommon for me to get emails from former students, but every once in a while I'll get one that really jumps out at me. And I'm going to share this with you right now. Let's see, I want to do it in such a way that doesn't show as email though. So let me see if I can share the screen and then, well, I'm just going to do it. No, I'm just going to read it to you. How about that? Good morning, Dr. Preston. My name is Suleiman, and I'll withhold his last name. I'm not sure if you remember me, but I'm a former student of yours who took your sophomore English class during the 2008-2009 school year at Rigetti High School. I wanted to reach out to you personally to thank you for giving me the foundational tools I needed to problem solve and develop critical thinking skills. Out of every teacher I've had at RHS, you've been the one whose memories in the classrooms I cherish the most. Your teachings instilled a discipline that cannot be broken, and destiny that kind of reminded me when you talked about your workout discipline. I still remember the journal entries we would be assigned to write. As tedious as they were, I will admit they did set me up for success. I wanted to share some good news with you. Given my experiences with human trafficking, I was recently appointed by the President of the United States of America to serve on the United States Advisory Council. Here is the press release, etc. Thank you for your tireless campaign to inspire the next generation. I'm just sure I'm one of the many successes who had the privilege, etc. The reason I'm telling you that, I mean, apart from the fact that it feels good to me, but the reason I'm telling you really is because when you think about the work that we do in this course, all of it is designed to support you throughout your thinking life. So what I really want to make sure is that, yes, you have a Fahrenheit 451 essay. Yes, if you're in AP, you have a rhetorical analysis video to watch and a prompt that's coming up. But apart from actually taking the AP exam, everything else that we do together should be designed to support you in these other endeavors. So in the time that we've got today, why don't we do this? If anyone has any questions that I can help you with regarding the Fahrenheit 451 essay, the Surviving with Class project, or the AP exam or anything else, why don't we treat me as your resource, fire away, and if you don't have any questions and you need to get to work, then let's do that so that you can get your essays done for tomorrow and get on with your other work. Does that sound reasonable?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm here. What can I help you with?
How are we going to start the book project?
Super easy. All you need to do is take a moment and think, how is this coronavirus for me? Like, when I think about my family, when I think about my friends, when I think about the high school experience, when I think about the federal government, what comes up for me? And literally write, no rules. Whatever you think is important. I listed a bunch of possibilities in that blog post, and you can certainly take any of those topics, but those were just offerings to get you started. If you got a better idea, I say great. And what I'll do, once you write and share that with me, and this I'm going to request that you share with me in an email, so that, or on a Google Doc, somewhere that's interactive but not on your blogs yet, so that you can really be free. I don't care about grammatical mistakes. I don't care. I just actually heard myself say mistakes with a P. Did you hear that? Mistakes. It doesn't matter, because once you have the ideas and you share them with me, I will be able to ask you questions and help you so that we can refine that into something that says what you want it to say. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. A lot of the time when you turn something in, especially to a teacher, you want it to be a certain thing. You want to follow directions. You want to have a certain standard. But that's actually not the way that most authors work on a first draft. Most authors, and I say this as a person who just finished writing a book, and I'm already writing the next one in my head. Most authors just literally think their way onto paper or the keyboard and then see where it goes. And that's what I want to help you do together. So I'm glad that you asked. What else? Does anybody have any ideas about what they might want to write about? Whether it's for the Fahrenheit 451 essay or the Surviving with Class?
I'll write about.
No.
What's that? Oh
Wait,
no! Now he's got to play. Get that man on camera.
This is my grandpa.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice for meeting you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
What are you eating?
I'm eating some chicken with rice. Orange chicken.
Now, is that a family recipe or takeout or what?
Actually, it's out of a box.
Out of a box?
Yeah.
Man, Lily, you got to teach that man some love. Didn't you remember like when we made food for each other?
Yeah, the other day I made them chow mein. Yeah.
All right, that's better.
Yeah, she made some really good chow mein.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm sorry I interrupted you guys.
Not at all. Now you're the conversation. We were just talking
Okay.
about life
I've
during
always
this.
wanted to write a book.
Yeah? About what?
I want to write a book about my childhood experiences.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
really?
think it's really a good book. It's a comical sort of like, and yeah, at the same time, it's very sensitive.
Yeah.
It's a good. I think it would be a good book.
Where did you grow up?
In Bakersfield,
Okay.
right in the heart of the black section, and it was the best time of my whole life.
Right on.
And yeah, and it was. We lived a deprived life, but I didn't think it was. You know, I didn't know anything about that until I got into high school.
Yeah.
That I realized that.
You were on the wrong side.
And I've always wanted to be a Cub Scout, but I couldn't be a Cub Scout because by the time we got ready, I outgrew the age limit.
Okay.
So I said, well, I'll just wait around to be a Boy Scout. When I was of age to be a Boy Scout, I tried 3 or 4 different troops, and I could never get in there because you needed your parents' signature and them to sponsor you. My dad always worked out of town, so he was never available. And my mother didn't drive, so she wasn't available. But the way I became about it was I'd walk around town selling newspapers, and I always run into some kind of a pack or some kind of meeting going on after I'm away home from school, from delivering newspapers in the evening, and I would just bust in there and sit myself down. Like they would always ask me, "Where's your parents at?" And I said, "Well, they're at home, but well, you need your parents here." And I could never get them.
Uh-oh, you froze. Can you hear me?
Oh, it's frozen.
Yeah. Okay. So what a wonderful opportunity.
I couldn't get the right timing.
Oh, there we are.
The timing was never there. I have to do that some other time.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's great. I'm sorry. You froze on our end. We couldn't hear you. So what I was just telling people was that what a wonderful opportunity. Because if it wasn't for the coronavirus, I never would have met you.
Right on.
Right.
Now,
You did meet him once at the
When
the
we
open
went,
house. I
yeah,
think.
we went to.
oh,
open
did you
house.
come?
Yes. Yes.
My apologies. Well, in that case,
No,
I
that's
never would have
okay.
seen you again.
It's I try to stay involved in her activities, And so I follow her around a lot, you know?
So at this point, the way I look at our learning community, this is truly a family affair because the people who are showing up are the people who need to be with us. And
Oh, cool.
I'm so grateful that you're here just for the fact that I've never heard Bakersfield and the best time of my life in the same sentence before. So I learned something new today.
Oh man, I tell you, I had a wonderful childhood.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lily, sounds like you got a gold mine for storytelling right there in your own house at your own table.
Oh,
So
man.
as far as I'm concerned, you know
There's-
what? Everybody's got a book inside of them, and
Yeah.
I'd be happy to have that conversation.
Exactly. There's
Yeah.
13 of us siblings, 13 siblings, and we all grew up in the same house, same mom and dad. And there's a big age gap. I mean, my oldest is, he's, I think, 20 years older than our last sibling.
Wow.
And so they didn't grow up together. And I'm right in the middle, so I got to see both sides of the generation. And sometimes we share stories, and there's 13 of us, and there's 10 of us that text each other all the time. We're in a group text.
Oh, wow.
So the ones that are younger, they're always amazed with the stories that we feed each other, and they wish that we could go into more detail. But there's only so much you can do while you're texting,
Yeah.
you know? So I was telling my wife I would sure love to put that into a book someday.
Well, if there's ever anything I can do to help you, but I want to point out something, and to the students who are on the call, and forgive me, I'm sorry, sir, I forgot your first name.
Benny.
Benny, you just did
Benny.
something. Okay. You just did something really important that we talk about in an English class, but it's different when we hear it in real life. You said when we feed each other stories. So that metaphor of, obviously you didn't take up a page and crumple it up and stuff it in somebody's mouth, but stories nourish us, right?
Yes.
It's a different way to make the point, and it like came right from your heart, and we totally got it. And that's what good authors do. So for the rest of you, when we're talking about Ray Bradbury or F. Scott Fitzgerald or whoever from the curriculum, that's the technique that authors use to get their ideas across so that we have that bond of understanding.
Wow. Awesome.
Wow.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
No, you couldn't. I couldn't have even dreamed it any better.
Now, what's up with that light behind you? When are you going to repair that?
Matter of fact, that is a speaker.
Oh, okay.
That takes all our conversations. Tapes. And I'm kidding. I'm kidding. My wife is like a perfectionist, so she's looking for the most perfect chandelier that she wants to get up there.
Excellent.
We've been looking for one for about like 10 years now.
No, not that long.
Okay, so I lied, but it's an ongoing thing with her. She can't seem to find
Yes,
the right fixture for it.
yes. Because Tom, the one I had there was the big one, and it had a middle light.
Yeah,
and
I
can't
have-
find one.
I have 3 of them that I've changed from time to time for her, and I just want to put anything up there to cover that
I
up,
won't let you.
but she won't let me. Yeah.
See, but here's a lesson for everybody in relationship diplomacy. That's where you get to say you're a perfectionist too, and that's why you didn't settle for anything less than her.
Wow, man.
Wow. That is awesome.
I like you.
Everybody wins today.
Oh, man.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, great.
All right. So now, hey, Lily, even if you don't show up, now that I know I'm going to have your family on Zoom every day, is there anybody else who has questions about the writing that we've got to do? Any of the students on the call have questions for me?
Oh, wow.
All right, then we're gonna stop it there today because I know you all have a lot of work to do. I'm gonna wish you luck on that project for Miss Henning's class. Thank you so much for introducing all of us to your family, Lily. And if anybody needs anything, I'll be on email. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
All right, have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.